Nagpapatuloy ang kwentuhang athletics natin ngayong hapon, teammates. Narito ang second part ng panayam ni teammate Ira Dalaw sa long-time advisor at mentor ni Ernest John Obiena na si James Lafferty. Narito ang ating sports chat.
Alright, James, with all these fiascos going around, you were there most of the time with EJ defending him, and EJ has been vocal and grateful about his relationship with you. And just showing, your all-out support for him. What is the reason why you keep on doing what you do for EJ? What do you see in him?
He loves his country. And it's really heartwarming to see. And at the same time, it's heartbreaking to see this kind of assault on such loyalty.
James, we have to talk about that. EJ Obiena has withdrawn from the Philippine Sports Commission's mediation offer to settle dispute with PATAFA. Do you know about this?
I know a bit about it. Yeah, it was being discussed. I mean, EJ has obviously had reticence for some time. I mean, the issue is that mediation, you have to make an assumption that there's good faith. What really killed EJ was finding out certain things. I'll give you some examples. The first thing he found out was the emails were leaked, apparently, between, Wico and Bubka. And it's very clear, Wico apparently wrote the entire statement, sent him money to pay for getting it notarized or apostillized, put the words in his mouth, just like exactly what Vitaly Petrov said. I was called and I was told, and I had documents sent to me. Everything was written by PATAFA. And you have to ask yourself, why is PATAFA writing all these documents, sending them to foreigners to then get their own athlete in trouble? I mean, I don't understand. I mean, is it PATAFA or is it like the NBI? I mean, what are they doing? And that was very disappointing because they could have just called EJ and said, hey, have you paid your coach? Are you late? If you really care about someone and you're really on their side, when you hear a bad rumor, you check with the person. You don't immediately go to lining them up to sign certified documents. I mean, come on. That's not real. That's not being on their side. That's not being fatherly. It's being aggressive and vindictive. And then, that was part one. Then part two was the press con on Jan 4. I think the press con, this is my opinion, the press con killed it for EJ because they have a press conference and they say, we've been asking EJ for the bank account of Petrov and he won't give it to us. And they show these emails of people in PATAFA asking EJ for it. But then they took out the email reply of EJ that said, here's the bank account. And this was in 2020. They literally cut out and clipped out the sections that didn't serve their narrative. I mean, this is not even on. I mean, we have to question ethics and morality and character when you do things like this. I mean, EJ's made mistakes. He's admitted it. But we've never excluded information and doctored information and done things like. Now, the final thing is that the terms of the mediation was everything stays confidential. And that makes him uncomfortable, because he will always have this negative cloud hanging over his name. And so you put it all together and he said, you know what? It's his decision. It's completely his decision. And at the end of the day, and he works it with his lawyers. I'm not a lawyer, so I stay out of that. He's going to throw his luck out to it. He is prepared mentally that he may have to retire and he may have to leave Philippine sports. He doesn't want that, but he's dealt with that mentally, whether he goes back to school or he competes independently, whatever the case may be, but he's prepared for it. And it's a decision that he made. Some people agree, some people disagree, but it's a decision he made.
So knowing EJ, what do you think will be the next move?
He wants to show the videos in public. He wants to put the emails out. Remember, we don't, he doesn't have anything to hide. We have nothing to hide. And that's the fundamental question. Is the government of the Philippines missing any of that money? The answer is no, not a single centavo.
Mm-hmm. Also, PSC Chairman William Ramirez was saddened by this development as, he received this email, and he reiterates that in peacemaking, there is no deadline and the PSC has not withdrawn its offer of mediation?
I think Butch Ramirez is a great man, and I think he's doing a superb job, and he's trying his best to get between this. But it's unfortunately a little bit out of the control of the mediators because you have two sides. And you know, I reached out to Patafa multiple times during this thing. I said, please. I wrote them a letter when I sent them my bank records. Now, I wrote in that letter to Patafa Investigating Committee, knowing that everybody in Patafa would read it. I begged them to, again, just pick up the phone and call him and talk this over. I talked to board members early on. I said, please just make this go away before it's too late. But there's so much misplaced pride and ego and you know, aggression in this that eventually it goes too far. And I think that's what's happened here. It's gone too far. But I think when you see the manipulation going on, when your own mother is dragged into it, which, you know, look, Jeanette Obiena, if you don't like Jeanette Obiena, there's something wrong with you. She's the most wonderful person that you can ever imagine on this planet. What? Dragging her into a public feud like this, what are we doing? You know, where is the decency in these things?
James, I don't know if you're reading the comments section whenever an article of this, you know, came out, whenever EJ posts on his personal account. But do you have any message to the Filipino who always supports EJ? And, you know, they really have EJ's back. We really have EJ's back. And they keep on saying, why don't you just transfer to another country, play for another country, represent another country? Because we know, they know that they will take care of EJ better than how we treat EJ here in the Philippines. Any message to the Filipinos?
Yes, I would say on behalf of EJ and, you know, all the lawyers and the legal team that supports him, thank you. Because you have no idea how these small words of support of, you know, Laban, EJ and similar comments, what this means to him, because he has felt very much alone. He lives far away from his country. He doesn't see his family. He's in Italy by himself. It's just phone calls and Zoom calls. What you're doing when you say you support him or you stand behind him and you support him in such a positive way, you're giving him hope and giving him life and just deepening his love of his country. There's no greater patriot than EJ. I mean, he just is so loyal, and he wants to show the world what the Filipino can do.
All right, thank you so much, James, for your time here with us in PTV Sports. We wish you well and very best of luck in the next days to come. I know it will be a tough battle again.
Well, thank you for having me, and thanks for taking the time to look into EJ's situation.
At yan na nga po ang ating pinakabagong update kay top Pinoy Olympian Natation pole vault record na si Ernest John Obiena mula po sa kanyang longtime coach na si James Lafferty. At muli ako po sa Ira Dalaw at ito po ang Sports Chat.